This one's for my single girls. If you are at all looking for a partner, come to Bass Pro Shop in the hunting clothing section. I am married, but if I were to go back in time to when I was dating, I would get off the dating apps immediately and come to Bass Pro Shop because there's a ton of eligible bachelors here. A lot of the men here just seem like genuinely good men and providers. Obviously, I'm married, so I'm taken by like the hottest guy ever. But for those of you who are single, 10 out of 10 recommend coming here. Like, it's a gold mine, especially the hunting section.
Nice. That's not really a thing.
So you thought it was like almost a red flag that he was too nice?
I think I was just like not ready to accept all of that yet. I was like coming out of that, like a long relationship, a divorce. Like I was just like chaotic.
Yeah.
I think I needed some chaos first.
Yes. Meeting a nice guy that's actually going to treat you well. You're like, wait, can you pause for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Let me get together and I'll come back.
Yeah. Totally.
One of the most common regrets that I hear from clients who have been divorced is, I should have left sooner. But here's the thing you have to remind yourself, you didn't stay too long. You stayed as long as you needed. You stayed while you were trying. You stayed while you were hoping. You stayed while you carried the weight of a relationship that was never meant to be carried by one person. That's not a weakness. That's loyalty. It's misplaced loyalty. You didn't waste your time. You gathered proof. You built strength. And you figured out what you're never going to tolerate again.
These men have decided to opt out of society because they're tired of being blamed for stuff they didn't do. Consequences that they didn't even call. I wasn't even around when that happened. Why am I getting blamed for that? So it's natural for a man to walk away from a situation and distance himself from a situation that he ain't got nothing to do with.
Your partner accuses you of acting crazy or emotional when you're on your period. Remember that your period is when your estrogen drops and your testosterone raises, so you're actually acting like a boy. No. The luteal phase is when PMS truly kicks in. And during the luteal phase, estrogen levels are high and testosterone levels are decreasing. So it's not men's fault that once a month you act like a life must be just so miserable, living in a house that your husband's paying for and all you have to do is just make him guacamole or whatever. That's so tough.
Because, you know, men are, you know what I'm saying? You know, they are getting tired. I mean, it's kind of like they're more so rather be single than be with someone and do whatever they want or whatever and fuck over them like because that's all they feel like they deserve, because the woman is not trying to be need I say the word submissive or supportive?
I don't even want you to be submissive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying as far as, you know, or I mean, even encouraging or being there for their man or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And not looking at just the buck, just looking at the dollar, you know what I'm saying?
What's going on, fellas? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. Let's get back to the video. You know, and once again, society in general has to move away from this idea that men are still expected to rescue a woman from her bad decisions, from her terrible decisions. If you're out here making good decisions, by and large, you'll be okay. I mean, there might be some things that you have to work on. By and large, you should be all right. Modern women are not even there. They want to make a whole bunch of bad decisions. They want a man to rescue them.
Fellas, I'm gonna hold y'all hand when I tell y'all this. But stop moving in with women and expecting the relationship to work. It does not always work. When you move in with a woman, guess what? Your level of respect that she once has for you or had for you, it falls down a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more every day. I'm telling y'all this from experience. Please, men, make your own bag, get your own place, let her come to your house, let her come spend the night. And even if y'all decide that y'all do want to be together and move in together, let her either move into your place or get another place together. Do not move in with a woman, respectfully.
Quick update on my 40 plus singles event sign up form that I posted a couple of days ago. The response has been crazy. So thank you so much to everyone that has signed up. And I'm always going to keep it real with you. There's still a big ratio difference. Women are outnumbering the men so far. So men, you're dragging your feet. If you're 40 plus and single and want to attend an event where other beautiful 40 plus single women are looking to meet you, please sign up. It takes 1 minute. The last thing I will do is have an event where the ratios are off. I always try to keep it 50-50. We're going to make it happen. Have an event planned out by like May or June, but I need the ratio of men to go up. Ladies, I see you, I hear you, and let's make this happen.
And another thing is that a lot of modern women don't like to take accountability. And a man can't live with you if that's the way that you think. There's nothing that I can do about that. There's nothing that I want to do about that. I can be at home, chilling, taking it easy. Why would I want to sit there and be bothered with you? Why would I want to sit there and have stupidity hanging around me? That's something that we got to figure out. That's the thing that we have to look for. Why would I want to be bothered with somebody that don't know how to act? And when they don't know how to act, they're looking at me like I done something wrong, instead of taking accountability.
Things to look for in a guy to know that he's a masculine man, but with emotional intelligence. 1, he leads, but he checks in. Masculine men aren't controlling over you. They're considerate leaders. 2, he's secure in your shine. A truly masculine man doesn't compete with your success. He's proud of it. 3, he regulates himself. Even during stress, he self-soothes instead of lashing out. That emotional maturity allows you to stay in your feminine. 4, he's calm when you're emotional. He holds space and stays grounded, making you feel fully comfortable expressing yourself. I shared the other day that I realized I was in love with Nikolai when I realized how feminine I had become. And that was because of how masculine and just emotionally mature Nikolai is.
And if paying for your nails means you can't afford pasta, maybe you should be going on job interviews. Also, if you're getting your nails done for a man, just so you know, most men don't care, so congratulations, you can save yourself some money. Whatever happened to doing that stuff for yourself? Or do we not want to mention that right now?
Like, a lot of women still don't get it, but men are not approaching women because they are traveling abroad, because they're looking for more fun, fit, friendly, feminine kind of women, you know, with cute personalities and soft personality. You know, men are not interested in self-sufficient, independent, you know, women who acting like men, you know what I mean? Or women who carry themselves like they don't need no man. They can do all without a man, okay? So men are packing up and they going to places where they celebrate it and not tolerate it. That's why men is not approaching women no more.
You're going to have to understand about why men choose peace and why a lot of men are opting out. So when I go to my apartment doesn't talk back. My apartment doesn't play games, right? My apartment, my home, my solitude, my peace, all of that stuff that you're doing right now, it does nothing. It does nothing to me. It helps me out. When I have peace, I can think. And that's the thing that a lot of modern women don't really understand. When I have peace about something, I can think straight. The problem that you're asking me to solve, I can solve it if you give me a little bit of time to think. But most modern women, they don't know when to be quiet. So they just keep talking.
Someone thinks I'm hideous. Okay, that's just fine. I've been told that I've been ugly multiple times throughout my life. So many, in fact, that I've actually lost count. I've even been called hideous before. But honestly, whenever I hear a comment like that, I'm actually rather grateful that that particular individual does not find me attractive whatsoever. Because by saying something like that to another person, and this goes for anyone that ever receives comments like this on their pages, be grateful. Because that individual has actually revealed a great deal about themselves and their true character. Because only an individual who is truly insecure with themselves would take it upon themselves to try to bring down someone else.
I think a lot of modern women are so short-sighted that they don't really understand that the person who they are, who they're proud of, is actually going to hold them back. And I know you like the spirit. You know, I fought through this and I've gone through that, and it made me who the person that I am today. And so they feel like in a lot of situations, in a lot of cases, well, you know, I had to fight through some stuff to build myself up to this person. And men will appreciate that about me. And so they'll say, oh yeah, she's a fighter, I love her. But that's not the way it goes, because that fight and that disrespect turns to him. There's nothing wrong with you challenging and trying to help him out. But a lot of times modern women are downright disrespectful.
ठीक है, आप ही बताइए, 2 साल तक मैंने एक लड़के को डेट किया, लेकिन उसके पास 200 रुपए नहीं होते थे कि वो मेरे साथ कहीं बाहर जाके कुछ खा सके। जब भी बोलती थी कहता था बेबी पैसे नहीं। मैंने सोचा ठीक है मैं दे देती हूँ, प्यार तो करता है। एक बार बोला बर्गर किंग खाने चलते हैं, कहता बेबी घर पे बना लेंगे। अरे बर्गर घर पे कैसे बना लेंगे बेबी, वो सॉस बर्गर किंग के बर्गर में ही आता है। ठीक है मैंने पे किया, मैंने सोचा कभी कमा लेगा, कमाया ही नहीं, छोड़ दिया मैंने। और अब न्यूजीलैंड में जॉब लग गई है उसकी। हाँ मेरे छोड़ते न्यूजीलैंड में जॉब लग रही है, गर्लफ्रेंड बना लिया उसने, 5 स्टार होटल में जाके खाना खिला रहा है उसे। मेरे लिए 5 रुपए नहीं होते थे उसके पास, और उसको जाके खाना खिला रहा है। साले मेरी किस्मत इतनी खराब है ना। बाय, बहुत बुरा लग रहा है।
In partnership, we've got to decide the territory. Accountability is inherently territorial, and if we don't say, yes, that's your territory and I will honor that, and this is what I need you to be accountable for, so that I know you're also taking care of what matters to me. So that's where the partnership comes on. It's not all your way. It's deciding together what is the way. Okay, I'm the one that'll be in charge of that. And I mean, it can be gorgeous. It's just gorgeous when we're united, which I think a marriage is supposed to be a union, which means we have to keep reuniting.
So we have this, I consider it very precious time together. You have written the Queen's Code. You've written other books. You've given many, many speeches. You've done a whole body of work. Mm-hmm. If you have, about an hour or so with a woman, and she's coming to you with her frustrations, her grievances, every woman's going to have different unique elements.
And a lot of times, what you might find with modern women is sometimes they know they're doing it and they do it intentionally, but then other times they'll do it subconsciously, where you have a man that's continuing to audition. You're still comparing him to an ex-boyfriend, Chad or Tyrone, or some sort of guy or something like that you met somewhere, that you were in a situationship with. You wrote, well, he's not like this guy, or he can't do it like this guy, and my ex set the standard, and all that other nonsense. And eventually men hear that and they leave. So a good man that you had on the hook eventually leaves because you're talking nonsense. Oh, he's not really, he ain't a real man. He didn't step up to the plate. I ain't trying to step up to no plate. I ain't trying to do none of that, because this is not a one-sided audition to where you make all of the rules. We're both trying to put our best foot forward for each other. But it seems like in some form or fashion, only one of us got the memo.
I don't want to raise another man's kid. And I said, do not do it. I said, the reason they're so nice to you now is because life has humbled them. When they had the world as their oyster, you couldn't tell them anything. So you have the right to create your own family. Be kind to them and wish them well, but that is not your responsibility. All right, ladies? So the longer you wait, and then all the baggage that you collect along the way, it's just going to be harder for you. So do not listen to these women, older women or women in your family or social media or people telling you, oh, you got time, don't worry about it. You do not. You absolutely do not. It is a very different world dating in your 30s. I don't know, I was married, but it's a very different world trying to date and get something real in your 30s. And then 40s and 50s, it just gets even harder.
The fact that some of these singles events and these mixers and stuff like that, now I've seen some mixers out there that are pretty, they look pretty good. That's something I might go to if I were single, right? But then you have a lot of them where men don't come at all. And women are like, where are all the good men at? How come men aren't showing up to this type of stuff? Well, it's not really beneficial. A lot of this stuff to a man isn't really there's nothing I ain't going to take anything home from it. Well, you might get a number. You might. And what might means is it's similar to playing the lottery. Well, you might win. So keep on playing. I'm going to keep on playing the lottery and I might never win. But I've spent a lot of money. I've accumulated a lot of tickets, a lot of lottery tickets. And when I've counted up the cost, man, I spent a lot of money on something that I'd never even had a chance to win. Well, do you have a shot? Probably I have a shot, a chance to win in general, but do I have an actual chance versus a 1 in infinity chance? Probably not. Probably not. And that's how a lot of men feel about dating. They don't really have a shot with a lot of these modern women, with the way that they act, with the way that they treat me, and really honestly and truly on that subject, with the way that they treat me, do I want a shot?
If you ever come across a man who's consistent, supportive, and makes you feel safe, don't play with it. Because in a world where loyalty is rare, attention is temporary, and peace is hard to find, a man who genuinely wants to see you win is something that you protect, not test. We live in a generation that glorifies material things more than real values. Everybody wants to be relationship goals online, but can't even hold down peace in real life. People are busy chasing looks, status, and followers, but forget that love, effort, and emotional safety will always outlast any type of lifestyle. A man who brings you stability, communication, and accountability is not boring, he's balanced. That's not soft. That's called being secure. That is a man who understands partnership. So don't lose something real trying to impress people who aren't even happy with themselves.
I genuinely can't stand wives that say, oh, I don't do anything for my husband. He's a grown man. He can do it himself. What the are you there for? You use. Just imagine if the roles were reversed. You as a wife are working a 9 to 5 or even 12 hours a day. You come home, the dishes aren't washed, dinner isn't made, and your clothes are dirty. So you have to come home, cook your own food, wash your own dishes, clean your own area, wash your own laundry, and then on top of that, you got to shower. And you'll only get just maybe a few minutes, maybe an hour or two to yourself, and then you have to go to bed because you have to wake up early for work. You women would divorce your husbands in a heartbeat if this was the case.
And this is why I'm so confused on why so many women think that they shouldn't have to cook, clean, or work, but they'll happily demand he pay the bills. Like, what does he get out of it? You may be pretty to look at, but for a lot of men, I mean, they can go on Google and type in pretty woman, and beautiful women will pop up on his page if he just wants to look at pictures of beautiful women. Like, what are you there for then? Just like she says. Also, when you're a housewife, you get to see all of the kids first. You get to be there for them. You get to shape them. A lot of men would absolutely love to be able to spend that much time with their kids. I'm not saying being a stay-at-home wife is hard and doesn't require a lot of labor. It definitely does. It's usually, you get a lot more advantages than he does.
And I think it really has come to a point to where, you are really, women are starting to really see men missing in action. Where are the men at? Used to be in coffee shops, or they used to be over here. They used to be everywhere. Men used to be everywhere. It's just not the case anymore, right? The reason that a lot of these modern women really noticed a man is because a man was in their face, right? And so when something is in your face, then you're more likely to say, oh, well, here's one over here, here's one over there. You know what I mean? Like, say for instance, one thing that my wife says is like, man, I never noticed, the type of car that you drive until I got with you. And you'd be like, they're all over the place. I've noticed them. That's why I got one, because I noticed it all the time. But that's how people, if I see something, then I'm focused in on it. I'm locked into it. When men used to talk to modern women, then they were like, oh, the men are everywhere. Man's over here, man's over there. I can get a man, there's a man. You'll never have to worry about a man. But now that men are kind of pulling back, then they're like, where are the men at? Well, the men are still right where they've always been. They're right in front of your face. It's just, you don't notice them because they don't talk to you anymore.
After work, you can find me at the gym.
Together we could make up a fake story about how we met.
Don't match with me if you're not gonna send a message or reply.
I'm still not over Harambe.
Isn't she lovely? Yeah. Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she precious? Don't mind the voice crack.
I'm weirdly attracted to girls on Lexapro.
I recently discovered that pizza is my second favorite thing to eat in bed.
I'm looking for a short-term relationship, but open to long.
I'm an open book. Just ask.
And what you see a lot on social media is women continuing to say, man, men don't really have the courage to come up and approach. They're not really bold enough to approach. Well, that's because you have social media. That's because you have a lot of these modern women that don't know how to do right. They don't know how to act right. And so they come towards them. Well, you know, I guess not physically speaking, because they don't really want to approach a man. Mentally speaking, energetically speaking, if I could say it like that, they come towards a man in such a manner that a man is apprehensive. It's like, I'm not really sure what's going on here. I'm not really sure if, you know, she's really into this. I'm trying to read, but I'm not 100% sure. And you can't read her because she's changing her mind in the moment. You're walking up to her and she's still trying to make a decision on whether she wants you to approach or not. And what modern women have gotten comfortable doing is waiting until you get up there to talk to them and say, no, you didn't read the signs right. When actually you did read the signs right. They just changed their mind when you got in their face. That's what they're doing. Oh, you know, I just decided I really didn't want anything. I really didn't want him to approach. Get away from me, you creep. Record. Get away from me, creep. Leave me alone. And you do that enough and you post that online enough, people are going to see your account because you're behind and your face is all over your account. And so people, men specifically, will be like, oh, she did this other guy like that. I'm not 100% sure if I want that for me.
If you want her in her feminine, you've got to get out of yours. All of my past relationships, I wondered, why is she not feminine? Why is she not soft? Until I realized I was very ego driven, very lust driven, very indecisive. In our relationship, it's different because I lead with stability. I keep my word and I've removed the lust, which has created a safe space for her to be in her feminine.
And in my past relationships, I was like your exes because I was very, very masculine too. But because Leo is such a great leader and he's so sure of himself, I can trust that wherever he's going to lead us is going to be a great place.
That is balanced polarity. I stand in my masculine, which is strong leadership, direction, and stability. And she can stand in her feminine, which is soft, expressive, and nurturing. We're not competing against each other. We're complementing each other. So if you want a woman who can be in her feminine, it starts with you. Being a man she can trust. That means keeping your word, removing the lust that makes her feel so unsafe.
And having his own mission with God that is bigger than me.
When you become that man, the right woman will naturally relax into her feminine with you. So take this as a sign for you as a man to build your masculine core, because it will make everything better in your relationship now or your relationship in the future.
We are in the find out era. A lot of women are realizing that they were sold a lie. They're now finding out that marriage was a scam designed to give the poorest man a maid. They're now finding out that chasing the approval and acceptance of men made them pick-me's. They're now finding out that the best years of their lives have been wasted on men who never loved them. Some of them are finding out that their husbands were on the down low. The love of his life is a man. We are in the finding out era. Women are realizing that they have been sold lies. They're realizing that they have been scammed, duped, hoodwinked. And because more and more women are waking up, they are choosing peace over drama and distance over disrespect. They are choosing to center themselves instead of centering men. They're choosing to chase their dreams, their goals, and travel the world instead of attaching themselves to a man and popping out kids just to continue his bloodline. We are in the finding out era. We are finding out that our grandmothers were trapped. We're finding out that a lot of women in our families had internalized misogyny. That's why they try to shame us and get us to subscribe to the same fuckery that they subscribe to. We are in the finding out era. We are witnessing patriarchy get dismantled in real time.
Definitely better. I'm an Orlando local.
So my guy friend told me that sometimes good men have to do bad things. So I asked him why, and he said that that's just how the world was designed. And I'm just like sitting here, don't mind me, I did just crash out. Like I'm going through a breakup and I am trying to hang on to every single reason as to why a good man might do something bad. And I don't know if I really believe in that statement. Like it kind of just feels like a cop-out. Like, oh, that's just how the world was designed, so sometimes good men just have to do bad things. Like, please give me your opinions in the comments, like men and women, like please, because I don't know. Like, is that real? I'm like mind fucked. I don't.
Here's some crazy research for you. So a third of men, 33%, a little over a third of men between the ages of 18 and 29 are not only single, but they're not actively looking for a partner. The same study said that by the year 2030, that 45% of women between the ages of 20 and 45 will be single. So I've got a question for the men, because I see it all the time in my comments. Most of my comments are filled with guys saying we're done. We're not looking. We like our peace. I need some more talk from you guys. Tell me why you're done. Tell me why you don't want to have a partner in life. Tell me why it's more worth it to be single than to have a partner.
I feel like LA is notorious for like nobody approaching each other at bars unless you're on the west side. Just like I'm not going to the west side. And there's this really scary dive bar like walking distance from my house. I mean, it is scary. And I've only been late at night when I'm already many drinks deep. And last night, my friends and I wanted to go as like a bit. We went at 8 o'clock and there were so many good looking men there. And they like multiple people came up and talked to us. And it was a great conversation, cheap drinks. And I was like, is this where they're hiding? At the scary dive bar that has darts? I guess I gotta go back. They're not at the regular bars. They were like, girls have never walked in this bar before. Gotta catch them while they're here. And you know what? I'm here for it. I'll be back.
Do women still prefer traditional male behavior, even while saying gender roles shouldn't matter?
1,000%. I think for the majority of relationships, they want to be provided for. I think in this generation, we're told, oh, it can go vice versa, but it's someone wants a provider, especially as a woman. Like, I want a man to provide for me.
Realistically, all women want a traditional man. Ladies, let's get it together. Like, you do not want to work. As a man, you should provide for your woman. Provide for your woman. The woman is a prize. You should be paying for her bills, her nails, her hair, everything. You are lucky enough to have a baddie. Keep her. Keep her. Provide. Be a provider. That's what a man does.
Do women still prefer traditional male behavior, even while saying that gender roles shouldn't matter?
Listen, babe, I prefer traditional behavior because you're a man. Be a man. Be a man. Don't be the woman. Be a man.
Okay, so another reason why I do feel like men don't approach is they out here really listening to us. When everything under the sun is saying, hey, I don't need a man, I don't need a man. What do you mean you don't need a man? Y'all got to be careful at what you say. I was talking to a girl, because I drive Lyft and stuff. And I was telling her, I'm like, she's a little older, about 40 something, a little later, probably closer to 50, doing very well. She's into, I believe she's in like nurse practitioner, she's like making real money, real good money, right? And I'm like, you may not need a man financially, but you do need a man for everything you can't give yourself. So please be careful at what you say, because they are listening and they're quicker to leave. I don't want to be around nobody that's saying that they don't need me.
From a relationship and 90% of women have nothing to offer. Remove money and 90% of women will disappear. Honestly, he nailed it. Women today are useless, ran through, materialistic, and draining your wallet. You'd be better off flying to Thailand and becoming a passport bro, because Western women, not worth it. Got your attention? Exactly. I am so tired of seeing posts like this that are strategically phrased to incite anger amongst all of you. I've watched my male following go from excited and eager about dating to completely turned off by it, thanks to the toxic, addicted mindset that all women suck. Look, I get it. Some women suck. And I hear your frustrations about the norms we are trying to reverse. But I also know that there are amazing women who want masculine men and share your values. Posts like this are meant to fuel your rage and keep you hooked on an endless dopamine hit of validating your self-pity. I know the game, and if I wanted to, I could grow my following in a heartbeat by playing into it, but I'm not going to. I've watched my following shrink over the past year because I refuse to feed you hopelessness. This response couldn't have said it any better.
Do you prefer chivalry or do you prefer equality?
Equality.
What about you?
I'm gonna agree.
What about yourself?
Equality.
Okay, so you said you in a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who paid for the first date?
Who paid for it? Him.
Yeah. Who paid for the second date?
It's been a while.
But what you think?
Probably him.
Interesting. Who paid for the third date if you got to think?
Probably him.
Okay, that's not equality.
You've used my logic against me.
How long would you take care of your man if he couldn't work anymore?
And be honest.
Like 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's not equality. What about you, Gigi?
I've done that before, so,
But you
so I would
broke up
say
with the
like,
dude.
well, yeah. So I would say maybe like 3 months, honestly.
3 months. And what about you?
I say a year.
The ladies that said that you prefer equality over chivalry, your answers contradicted yourselves. And the fact that I have a timeline on it, that means that it's not equal because men, it's in our nature to provide for a woman forever. So even though you say one thing, which is like a politically correct answer, because the media right now is ruled by the crazy Dems and they socially constructed your mind to believe nonsense, but true deep down in your deepest part of your soul, you don't want equality.
She's single, and she says to DM her on Instagram.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Welcome to episode 2 of Single in the Wild, where I put myself out there to answer the question every single lady is wondering. Where are all the good single men at? Because dating apps suck and we're getting off them in 2026. So when the team at VGK hit me up and said, we heard you're looking for love at our games. Want to ride the Zamboni? I was like, absolutely. That's been on my bucket list since high school when I used to go to the Wranglers game. So we got there early, did the whole pregame thing. I even got free hair tinsel. Y'all, I'm officially in my VGK girly era. We stopped to get food and they're serving chicken tendies and fries in a mini Zamboni. I love going to Golden Knights games. The crowd is always so hype and the energy is just unmatched. Before I knew it, it was time to hop up on that glorious Zamboni and ride around on the ice. I had so much fun waving at the crowd, and the arena from that angle is crazy. Huge shout out to the VGK team because that was such a cool experience and I'm so grateful. And for the record, I didn't know they were going to tell people to DM me. But yes, I did get messages, a lot of them. And I'm not going to lie, it was a little chaotic, which honestly just reinforced my point. I want to meet someone in real life, in the wild, not through a flood of DMs, which is why we stopped at Hyde after the second period and ended up running into a bunch of friends. Hyde was popping during this game, and again, lots of attractive men, and I did observe some of them approaching women, so I'd like to think episode 1 of my series helped encourage that.
It is not quirky or funny to publicly admit that your emergency contact is your boyfriend or husband who is deeply incompetent and irresponsible. It is wildly concerning to me to see all of the women that are under the sound that are saying, ladies and gentlemen, my emergency contact, and he is doing the most outlandish type of behavior.
Your back's gotta be pretty sore from doing all that reaching. Like, there's no way you didn't grow 3 inches. It has got to be very exhausting trying to turn every single moment into a think piece on hating men. This is a very harmless trend. Women posting their partners doing something goofy and captioning it my emergency contact. That's literally the joke. But you've somehow managed to try and turn it into some kind of deep commentary about incompetence and irresponsibility based off of a 5-second clip. You deduced that about someone from a 5-second clip. Be so for real. God forbid women actually feel safe and secure in their relationships. God forbid they actually have a dynamic where they can joke around with their partner. But no, you had to make it about how awful men are because he tripped over his own feet in a TikTok. If you are mad that you can't participate in the trend, then just say that. Because your username being your boyfriend's worst nightmare and your bio saying let men rot make it pretty clear where you stand. Maybe this just isn't the space for you. By all means, keep trying to suck the fun out of everything while we are out here actually enjoying our relationships.
Where is the best place for a man to approach a woman?
Well, according to the literal thousands of videos you can find of women answering this question, I would say nowhere.
Obviously, it's not the gym. We've seen the discourse on that. However, I saw a video today of a lady saying that a man approached her in a grocery store and she was like, oh my God, we can't even go to the grocery store in peace.
So no gym, no grocery store. I've also heard no school, like don't approach me at school. And this one to me takes the cake. Don't approach me at a club where singles go to meet other singles. Don't approach me at the club. I'm just here to dance with my girls.
And to that woman specifically, I say, absolutely. If you don't want people approaching you in the grocery store, you have every right to say that. But as a collective, I'm worried because I'm like, if they can't approach us in the grocery store, I fear that their only option is DM. And I don't want an internet love story. So now I want to know from the women, like, where is home base? Like, where are we going to say, like, yes, if we are here, feel free to respectfully approach?
Ma'am, if you didn't get the memo, men have decided to check out completely. So it doesn't matter if you guys sent out a badness signal saying, hey, approach us this way. Now we're okay for you to approach us in this area. Men have gotten the message and they've said, no, thank you. And they've decided not to approach. Even when you are saying, and I know you have good intentions, even when you are saying, hey, when are we going to give a guys the signal? You have to add in the modifier respectfully approach because of your fear of the sisterhood.
Men do not care if you have kids. I can promise you. So if you are listening and you have kids and you're scared to get a divorce or leave a relationship because you're a mom, get that out of your head. Men do not care.
There are definitely a lot of men who do care if you have kids. I think that Kristen is mostly speaking from her perspective because she makes a decent amount of money. You know, I'm pretty sure she lives somewhere in California, maybe LA. So she doesn't really have to worry about not having enough money to hire a babysitter or not knowing how she's going to be able to afford her rent or really needing a guy for multiple income. And so her perspective with guys that she might be dating is just going to be different from your average woman. I also think it's different when we're talking about casual versus serious because there's a lot of guys who will date a single mom casually, but they might not be ready for the responsibility that comes with having to sort of take on that step parent role. And I know there's going to be some women who say that they wouldn't have to take that on, but the truth is if you like really fall deeply in love with somebody, eventually that probably is going to come with being in a partnership with them, at least most of the time. So men are kind of evaluating that. And it's not just men. There are women who are evaluating that too. There are a lot of women who also won't date single dads if they are child free. So it's just one of those things where it doesn't mean that it's completely hopeless. And if you are open to also dating a single parent, then that might work even better for you. But it is just the truth that every sort of thing that could make you more niche or could add a responsibility to your life probably will make it harder to date in some capacity. But that doesn't mean that it's impossible. It just means that you sort of have to navigate accordingly and understand that there are going to be some people who reject you because of it, but that doesn't mean that you can't find your person at the end of the day. But that is just my personal opinion, so let me know what you guys think. Bye.
One thing that's always puzzled me is why so many men are so desperate to cling to the idea that women only date men if they have money, despite so many women trying to tell them otherwise. But a recent interaction I had on that platform made it all make sense to me. So he subscribes, we exchange pleasantries, and then right away he launches in saying, sucks being 45, single, no prospects, because I'm not rich and treat women with respect. To which I reply, lots of women are willing to date men who don't have a lot of money, so maybe there's another reason that you're single. He completely ignores this. The next thing he says to me, can I you? Obviously, I just leave him on red. I don't take those types of requests seriously. And he then follows up with, guess I don't have enough money. And here's the kicker, he comments on one of the posts on my wall promoting a new movie I have with a boy, and he says, how rich was the guy? Mind you, the boy that I made this movie with, not rich, just a personal friend. And then it hit me, the reason that this man is so insistent that I'm not interested in him because he's not rich, despite me explicitly telling him otherwise, is because he doesn't want to face the reality that there's another reason he's not getting. And it's because his personality stinks. In that entire interaction, he has given me zero reason to want him, but he's not ready to own up to the fact that there's something about him intrinsically that repels women. And I think that's why a lot of men keep trying to insist that women don't like them because they don't have money. They don't want to face the reality that it could be something else, and it could be something that's personal about them.
See, modern women get out here and act a fool. They talk about wanting a man to be generous and a provider man and a man that's chivalrous. But a lot of times they don't But they want a man to continue doing whatever he's doing. Don't change. As a matter of fact, go back to what everybody else was telling you to do as a man. Men used to go to war. And now, I want you to keep on doing that. But I want you to improve. See, the men that used to go to war, what they don't say, because they come in on, this is what modern women do. They come in on the back end of somebody's relationship. And they see grandma moving around and doing certain things. They don't understand that for a long, long time, grandma did exactly what grandpa said to do. That don't mean grandpa was in there hitting on folks, as people like to say. That don't mean grandpa was in there hollering and screaming. Now, grandpa did, put down the belt of discipline on the kids, and grandma did it too. But this is the way daddy said it's gonna go. This is the way the man in the house said it's gonna go. At the end of the day, that's what it's gonna be. That's what it's gonna be. And we gotta follow that. But where y'all get mixed up is, okay, you stay traditional, but me as the woman, as a modern woman, I'm gonna go do whatever I want to do. I'm gonna stay out at all times of the day and night. I'm gonna drink until I can't stand up straight. And I'm gonna be in the line of fire, in the line of danger, and I'm gonna need you to come get me. Knowing you got the kids at the house and you gotta go to work tomorrow. So then what you gotta do in order to come get me, because I'm way across town and my friend for some reason won't bring me home because they probably drunk too and their boyfriend can't get a hold of them. Y'all both acting stupid as I gotta pick up the kids, put them in the car, or here's what some men do. I take them over to mom and daddy's house. I drop them off over there because I don't want them seeing mama like that. What's wrong with mommy? Nothing. Go back to sleep. Can't go back. And now I got to put pressure on my mom and my daddy. They retired. They supposed to be retired or near retirement age. And I got them holding on my babies when we should be at the house sleep. But because you can't get your act together as a modern woman, now I got to go run around chase you. I got to get up, get the kids dressed. Well, at that time of night, parents probably gonna understand. So you don't really got to get them dressed, just make sure they halfway decent. But if I'm going to leave them over there, I got to go get food. So I got to make sure they got food. I got to make sure they got toys to play with and their favorite blankie, their favorite teddy or whatever it might be, and bring them over there. I got to wake up mom and dad at 1 o'clock in the morning. They sleep. They walk into the door all groggy. No, my dad, he might walk up to the door with something on the other side. Try to make sure ain't nobody acting crazy. That's what I got to go into to come get your silly behind off the side of the road on somebody's front lawn. Throwing up. That's what modern women look at. That's the type of modern woman you're looking at.